Ed O'Keefe now of the Washington Post and CBS News' political contributor is joining me on the phone. Oh boy, Ed, what are you hearing?
Stephanie, this is becoming a habit. You and I spending time in an afternoon in the middle of the day talking about a staff shakeup at the White House.
Is it us?
It might be. I don't know. Look, clearly, this according to the initial reports here, had something to do with John Kelly, the new White House Chief of Staff, who made very clear this morning, apparently, that he was in charge and that was the way it was going to be. Remember that when Scaramucci came in 10 days ago, he made clear he reported directly to the president. This would appear, if it's true, that Kelly is laying down the law and making clear that, no, if we're going to have a chief of staff like me running the show, everyone reports up through me, then to the president. That's traditionally how it's worked in West Wing staff operations of the past, and it looks like that may be what he's trying to implement here. If that's the case, then you wonder what this means for people like Steve Bannon, for the president's children, and for Kellyanne Conway, other senior advisors that have, at one time or another, been reported to just go directly to the president instead of to Priebus. And the fact that the president went along with this also signals then that he understands that there is a need for this style of discipline and command structure in a West Wing that has had anything but that since it began nearly 7 months ago. Also telling that this comes on a day when we're seeing some polling now suggesting that the president's support is really beginning to soften in places, in parts of the country where it had been strong. Gallup polling today shows big drops for him in places like Georgia, Texas, and Arizona. And even the Rasmussen polling service, which has always seen, because of its methods, to have been more favorable to Trump since the campaign, shows that the president's approval rating is just under 40%, which is a first for them. So the White House has to be seeing all of this and realizing they really got to shape up here.
So Scaramucci had not even officially taken office, right? I mean, he was set to begin that job in August.
Right.
So talk about the perception, that this new chief of staff, within hours of being sworn in, is now, putting the entire staff through yet another shakeup.
Well, and yet this is what he was brought in to do, was to bring some stability to a place that has been anything but under Reince Priebus, who clearly did not have control of the building, was not serving in the president's interest to keep things stable, and maybe, frankly, just didn't have, and we know this actually, just didn't have the president's trust or the capability to wrangle everyone and restore some order. It was clear from the president's statement last week, and it's clear through this move, that Kelly clearly does have that authority and has been telling the president, if we're going to do it, this is how we're going to do it. And we'll see if there's anything more to this. But it appears this is exactly what the president wanted. We should point out that Mr. Scaramucci has, since that incredible New Yorker interview, also been the subject of some tabloid fodder through the weekend, as the New York Post and other gossip rags up in New York noted that he's in the midst of a messy divorce, that his soon-to-be ex-wife gave birth to their child last week, and that Mr. Scaramucci was not there for the birth of that new child, and that there are some other questions still about his previous arrangements with Skybridge Capital, and the fact that there had clearly been some concerns about him joining the administration, given that he kept hopscotching to different roles and kept getting blocked from getting a West Wing job. Yes, it seems now he's been used as a pawn to get rid of Reince Priebus, but he, perhaps as another pawn on the chessboard now, has been eliminated as well. And we'll see whether John Kelly can bring some order and discipline to the West Wing.
Well, what's significant, I think, about what you're pointing out and others have on our air today is this chain of command sense that Scaramucci seemed to threaten by saying, I'm going over the chief of staff, I'm reporting directly to the president, and that is exactly what you would think the former commander of Southern Command would bring, is this sense of sort of hierarchy and this sense of order. You brought up some of the other names and some of the other players. Can you sketch out those alliances a bit better for us? And you did bring up Steve Bannon and other, stalwart Trump faithfuls like Kellyanne Conway and, of course, his own family members. Do you see the writing on the wall for any of them?
Not necessarily, depending on we don't know what kind of conversation the president and Kelly and these people have had. But, it may be that Bannon, frankly, is willing to play along and go through Kelly in order to survive. It may be that he's seen as a separate and can kind of act on his own. You know, Karl Rove, for example, during the George W. Bush years, kind of came and went as he pleased. Valerie Jarrett, the same for President Obama. There was a chief of staff, but those people had privileges and had the ability to get to the president quickly if they wanted to, or in their view needed to. So it may be that there's a carve-out for Bannon and for the Trump children at least, but everyone else will have to go through Kelly. We'll see. But clearly, Kelly making some early moves here, asserting his new role and his power and his influence, and making it clear that it's a new day and a new week at the White House, one that desperately needs it right now.
Well, except that there's a new day every single day. And there's a shakeup every single day.